If you want this series to continue and see more epic episodes, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Your support keeps us going. Now, let's dive in. The glowing golden chains instantly wrap around the Green Goblin King's massive arm, binding it tightly and preventing him from moving. The moment the white-robed mage sees the giant leader trapped, he soars high into the sky, surrounded by radiant magical runes, and shouts that this is their last chance to kill the monster. At the same time, the purple-haired warrior charges forward with his glowing blue sword while unleashing a barrage of brilliant yellow energy blasts from above. The relentless assault crashes into the boss, severing one of Gobichong's massive green arms, which slams heavily onto the rocky ground. Clutching the bloody stump, Gobichong glares at the humans with overwhelming fury and warns them not to push him any further. However, the purple-haired adventurer shows no fear. Instead, he mocks the monster with absolute confidence, declaring that he will keep attacking until the boss is completely destroyed. With a fierce battle cry, he swings his glowing sword downward with tremendous force, slicing straight through Gobichong's body, or so he believes. The blade passes harmlessly through a strange purple phantom, leaving the warrior frozen in shock after realizing he has completely missed his target. Watching calmly from a distance, the disguised Lin Tian remains perfectly composed as Gobichong's enormous green body suddenly begins melting into a gigantic pool of green slime. The purple-haired adventurer stares in disbelief, wondering what has just happened. Moments later, the slime rapidly hardens, forming a massive cocoon before everyone's eyes. The instant the adventurer realizes what is happening, he desperately orders his teammates to destroy the cocoon before the monster can be reborn. Without hesitation, he unleashes an enormous wave of blue energy at it. But when the dust settles, the terrifying truth becomes clear. The attack has left the cocoon completely unharmed. He immediately rushes forward and strikes it repeatedly with his sword, only to discover that its shell is harder than steel and impossible to penetrate. Realizing the horrifying danger, the captain orders an immediate retreat, warning everyone that something is terribly wrong with this monster. Fear spreads throughout the group as the purple-haired warrior sweats nervously while staring at the cocoon. Suddenly, it explodes with an overwhelming burst of green energy, filling the cave with dense green mist. From within the smoke, the enormous leg of a humanoid insect slowly steps onto the ground. As the mist fades away, Gobichong emerges in an entirely new form, taller, far more muscular, and vastly more powerful than before. Admiring his transformed body, he proudly declares that this new form is absolutely perfect. Then he lowers his head and stares at the humans with terrifying eyes, causing the purple-haired adventurer to tremble in fear. Without wasting another second, Gobichong commands his gigantic insect army to tear the humans apart. His deafening roar echoes throughout the cavern as countless monstrous insects charge toward the adventurers. One of the female adventurers desperately screams for everyone to run, but it is already too late. The purple-haired warrior watches in horror as a gigantic insect rushes toward his team. Nearby, another human adventurer collapses to the ground in despair, begging his captain to save him. Suddenly, a terrified scream echoes through the cave. A shadow flashes by, violently piercing one of the adventurers and splattering blood across the cavern walls. The purple-haired warrior stares at his own wounded body in complete disbelief as blood pours from his injuries after suffering the devastating attack. Gobichong calmly walks toward the defeated human and looks down on him with overwhelming arrogance. Standing triumphantly over the bleeding warrior, he mocks him, saying that with so little magical power remaining, he never should have entered this place. He then admits that if the human had activated his light form from the very beginning, the outcome might have been different. Throwing his arms wide open, Gobichong bursts into maniacal laughter, proudly announcing that with his newfound power, he no longer fears being hunted by the Sword Kingdom. He declares that his Sandworm Kingdom will finally rise within this desert. But just as he celebrates his glorious victory, a calm voice interrupts him. The disguised Lin Tian quietly steps out from the shadows and casually says that he wants a share of that kingdom as well. A wicked smile appears beneath the little goblin's hood as his glowing red eye shines brightly. He calmly asks whether he can have a portion of the kingdom too. Gobichang turns around in complete astonishment, unable to believe that the insignificant goblin is still alive. Furious, he demands to know which goblin tribe the little brat belongs to. As he carefully observes the stranger, an enormous demonic aura suddenly materializes behind Lin Tian. In that instant, Gobichang realizes that although this small creature looks like an ordinary low-ranking goblin, he actually possesses an unimaginably terrifying demonic power. Cursing in frustration, Gobichang decides to crush this dangerous new enemy before he becomes an even greater threat. He immediately activates his ultimate skill, Sandstorm Domain, summoning a colossal sandstorm that erupts violently in the center of the cave, signaling the beginning of an even more devastating battle.